Around 1 in 8 people carry herpes. Many don't even know it. So how do you know if you're one of them? Stick around to listen and learn. Hi guys, I'm Dr. Lane, your friendly doctor on demand for down-to-earth health education. The word herpes actually describes a family of viruses, not all of which are sexually transmitted. It includes things like chickenpox or hand, foot and mouth, cold sores even. But today we're talking about genital herpes, and this relates specifically to a virus called herpes simplex virus or HSV. There are two types of HSV. Type 1 and 2 can both cause genital herpes, and type 1 typically also causes cold sores. So I know what you're thinking, and the answer is yes, you can get herpes from a blowjob. So how do you know if you have HSV? Here are 5 things that may suggest you have genital herpes. Number 1, if you have a rash or sores that are around the genitals or anus. Number 2, if that rash or the sores look anything like this. You see, skin rashes and lesions, they all come in different types, but with herpes, the classic lesions we see are what are called vesicles or ulcers. This is a vesicle here. It's often known as a blister, and you'll see it's raised and filled with fluid. Ulcers, on the other hand, are not raised, but they look like they erode through the superficial layers of skin. Number 3, if the rash or the sores are painful. When it comes to herpes, pain is an absolute giveaway. Both vesicles and ulcers tend to be very sore and sensitive, whereas in other types of genital rashes, pain may or may not be present. But in addition to pain, the rash associated with herpes can be itchy. Sometimes people even describe a tingling sensation on the skin for around 24 hours before the rash appears. Number 4, if in addition to the rash, you also feel generally unwell. For example, people sometimes have fever, headaches, swollen glands, particularly in the groin. If you feel this way and you have a genital rash, herpes simplex could certainly be the culprit. And number 5, if it's painful to do a wee or a poo. Yep, herpes simplex can sometimes infect the urethra. Now this causes a lot of pain to urinate and even discharge. If you get herpes in the bum, it can cause a lot of discomfort when you go to the toilet to do a poo, and it can even present with the sensation of constantly needing to go. So what do you do if you think you have herpes? Well, the most important thing to do is get to your GP ASAP for 2 reasons. Firstly, your GP can take a small swab of one of the sores, and that can help us get a diagnosis. In Australia, having a diagnosis allows us to prescribe you medication in the future in case you get flare-ups. And number 2, there is a treatment for herpes, a type of antiviral tablet which can both reduce the severity and also decrease the time associated with an attack of herpes. But it needs to be started quickly, ideally within 72 hours to have an effect. Now, if for any reason you can't get in to see a doctor, I certainly suggest you go to a pharmacy and ask about medications they may have. Sometimes they can give you antivirals over the counter, but that will be dependent on where you live. Now, while we're on the topic of common sexually transmitted infections, if you haven't seen it already, make sure you check out my video on chlamydia, where I cover 5 things you absolutely need to know. And if you want to find out more about herpes, check out the description below where I'm posting a few really good links. Stay healthy, guys, and see you next time.